Hi there, Serial Trader here. It's been a while since I did an update on Bitcoin, but I think it's worth having a look at here to just show what I'm thinking. So I still like that we're potentially working, this third wave to the upside, this larger degree third wave, which should, it should greatly exceed the previous all-time high. But certainly the local high here we put in 2019, which was at on this Bitfinex chart 13,764. So that's just kind of a initial area to take out as we start trending up again. But again, after that, I would certainly be looking to take out the previous all-time high and then some, just around 20,000 or so. Some things I want to point out though. So this trendy move we had up from the December 2018 bottom. And let's see, that bottom was on December 15th, 2018. So I want to point out some interesting timing things. So from that low to the June high, we're going to take a time measurement of that. And go from the bottom up to the top there. And let's see, right on there, snap it. Okay, so I have the time equality and then also the 786 time relationship, and just make sure I snapped right there on the exact low. Yeah, I did. December 15th, 32.15. Okay, so here's what I like about this. So there seems to be a seasonal aspect, at least in the last couple years here, where Bitcoin bottoms in December and then has a nice rally for a portion of the year, and then we pull back. Okay, so where do we make our bottom here, if it is in fact the bottom? So from the top, this is 5 up for 1. We got a W, X, Y, X, Z, triple corrective pattern here. Not triple zigzag, but a triple 3, because this wave W is not a zigzag, at least how I count it. It was a flat 3, 3, 5. But anyways, a triple 3 down. So W, X, Y, X, Z for a wave 2. And look where we bottomed here on the day. We bottomed on December 18th. So within 3 days of the calendar to the December bottom of 18, we did it in 19. So interesting tendency. It looks like Bitcoin enjoys bottoming out sometime in December. In this case, only 3 days difference year over year. So that's interesting. And we also have a couple, like I said, the fib time relationships. So the 786 time relationship was on the 25th of November. It certainly seemed to have a reaction off of that day, but it wasn't the ultimate low. Made a marginal new low there, like I said, on the 18th of December. And then, of course, the time equality relationship. So the time of this trending move essentially doubled out into the future. That would have brought us to January 5th, 2020. So to have proportion between a trending wave and a corrective wave, to have a similar amount of time consumed, that's certainly a nice feature. Now we didn't bottom, to the day of time equality, but the 18th of December versus the 5th of January, over the course of a multi-month pattern, that's still pretty close. Anyways, the point I'm trying to get across here is we've corrected enough time and we've corrected enough price to be proportional to this previous trending move up, impulsive move up. So now I think we're building the foundation of the next trend to the upside. And so far I like the shorter term price action I'm seeing here. This is still the daily chart. From our bottom there, and let me just get rid of this for a little clarity. Oh, I'll also, before I get into the shorter term wave count off the bottom, I'll point out, okay, so I had this parallel trend channel drawn for the longest time, which largely contained the price action. You see we've cleanly broken out of that now. So we've broken that trend channel. But even if you want to make the trend line as least generous as possible, okay, if we go to this point, which is our highest point I can grab coming off the high there, and let me just extend that out. Even using that trend line, we've still broken out above that trend line and maybe just come down to slightly retest it before heading up again here. So however you want to draw a channel or a trend line, you've broken them all. So that's quite encouraging for declaring that the bottom is in as of December 18th and that we're already in a new trend. That's the camp I'm in currently, and I'll go into the shorter-term wave structure to kind of support that idea here. Okay, so daily chart. Well, maybe I'll just go the 4 hour, a little more detail. But daily chart here, I'm definitely liking the action. So I think we got initial wave 1 up. Okay. Then we had some sort of ugly corrective pattern. I mean, you could get kind of maybe an A down, triangle B, C down for an ugly 2. I'm not going to go into the time required to kind of break that down into all the subwaves and subdivisions. I don't think it's particularly useful for what I'm trying to communicate here, but basically a 1 up, sideways corrective 2. Obviously consumed a lot more time than the previous spike up there. Then we had a nice wave 3, and I mean, you can even see it. We got a 1, 2, 3, and then a triangle for A, B, C, D, E. Nice little triangle wave 4 of 3, and then 5 up in wave 5 of 3. And now it looks like, and this is where I really want to examine here as far as perhaps a shorter term trading opportunity, looks like we have a nice 3 waves down for this proposed 4th wave, and it's potentially already in place. And let me just draw a nice parallel trend channel here. Hang on there. Oh, sorry, that's the trend line. I want the trend channel. Here we go. It's hard to snap this thing here. Okay. So trend channel. You see we're breaking out that trend channel. We're also breaking out this base channel that I've gotten drawn here off the wave 1-2 sequence. So yeah, we're turning back up here, looking pretty good. And I would say you could definitely make the case just for a simple ABC down in 4, right? You can count that pretty clean, a 5-3-5 ABC down. So that's looking quite encouraging. And let me just get this degree where I want it. All right. So basically the short-term trade opportunity here is you go long basically anywhere near current levels. You put your stop just below this low, since it looks like we've got a nice pivot. And on Bitfinex, that low is 82.46. Let's just call it 8200 for simplicity. So enter anywhere near current levels, stop at 8200, and then obviously your target, we'd be looking to go up in the impulse sequence for a 5th wave of potentially a larger wave 1. But just to give you a fib target for that, do a reverse fib extension. And the 1.382 gets us up to, let's call it 9,500. So you're looking at a decent $1,000 move up from current levels with a, I don't know, a $300 stop or so. Something like that. So that's not a bad risk reward for a short-term trade. And I'm certainly playing this here. Of course, I always have the core position in Bitcoin, looking for that longer-term upside. But when I see nice setups like this, I'll also trade it with separate capital. So that's what I'm presenting here. Nice short-term trade setup. Catch a $1,000 move or so, risking significantly less than that. So it's looking pretty good here. Okay, now daily chart. Back to the daily chart. Let me just get this scaled back here. Okay, so obviously, after if you really want confirmation, you want to be very picky. Not that this isn't picky. This is a nice trade setup for a 4th wave. One of my favorites, actually, 4th wave trade setup. But if you want to be super picky, you wait till you get this completed 5 up, okay? And, you know, it could go beyond 9,500. Nothing to say we can't go up here and test this old resistance level. And maybe that'd be a nice area to kind of test and then back off from. So you could even get up to, you know, over 10,000 potentially if we test this previous resistance level. But let's say you do that. You got your clean 5 waves up in one. Then you'd be looking for a proportional correction in a second wave. And then if you get that, if it sets up like this is kind of where you back the truck up. So just to put it all into context, you have this beautiful, let's call it 6 months impulse sequence up, 5 waves up for wave 1. You have roughly the 6 month correction, W, X, Y, X, Z for wave 2. And now you're setting up that first 5 waves off the bottom to signal that a new trend has kicked off. And then if you do get that nice proportional ABC down for 2, some sort of second wave, maybe back to the previous 4th wave zone, maybe a nice fib retracement along with that. If you get this setup, this is kind of where you put on some big size here if you get this nice wave 2. But even here, I'm enjoying the potential here of this wave 4 trading for this wave 5. But if you get that, and then you get that ABC down for 2, that'll be a beautiful setup. That'll be where you back the truck up for Bitcoin to go from, you know, maybe somewhere in the 8,000s or 9,000s up to all-time highs and beyond. So just a thought, but I thought I'd present this as it's certainly looking like a nice, not only a nice longer-term trend in development, but also a nice short-term trade setup. All right, I'll cut it there. Serial Trader signing off.